Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with a Love Activist. As you know, I'm on this journey of healing and radical self love. And in every hero's journey, there comes a time where they have to face their shadow self. And my guides were very interesting and mischievous in the way that they showed me that I need to do some shadow work by giving me 7 to do with mourning experiences in one day. And that got my attention that, okay, there's some mourning that I have to do. And when I started to dig, I realized that as a collective, we are going through a huge mourning experience and we're not really engaging with that. You know, it was 2020, the start of a new decade. We had all these hopes and dreams about what 2020 was going to be, and then Corona happened. And so we haven't created space for us to mourn the immense amount of loss, not just the loss of lives, but the loss of income, the loss of businesses, the loss of the dreams that we had, the loss of relationships that people are experiencing. And so watch this episode as I share with you the 7 to do with mourning experiences, and stick around as I am doing a 4-week Sacred Mourning course. And so many incredible things are coming up in that course, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of beautiful rituals and grounding as I go through this mourning experience. So take a look, and I'll see you just now. Hi, friends. Today is the 29th of October, and I had to document the day because it's just been super strange. Super strange. For the last couple of days, I've been seeing either 111 or quadruple one, or 222 or quadruple two. And those are angel numbers, and what I've read, it's basically, you know, your angel guides are trying to speak to your ancestors. Basically, people are trying to get your attention. God is trying to get your attention. A lot of them spoke very positively about, you know, expect something big, something really incredible is about to happen. But a lot of it was about paying attention. So this morning, I'm reading through my emails, and I see that my email address is reflected as Mourning in Solidarity. Mourning in Solidarity is a video art piece I did with my best friend, Misty Evans, while I was living in Florence, Italy. And we did it for the Vagina Monologues in response to the rape crisis in Congo, still currently happening. And literally, she had just sent me all this information about what's happening on the continent and how women's bodies are being used as weapons of war. Anyway, cried. I'm like, my friend, all I can think of is to mourn human beings. This is not what humanity is. And for us to have gotten to this point, the only thing that can come to my mind is mourning human beings. And then we did our cultural mourning rituals. I did a Xhosa mourning ritual where I cut my hair, and she did an Iranian, because she's Iranian American, she did an Iranian mourning ritual. Fine. So for years, my email hasn't done this thing of reflecting as mourning in solidarity, and this morning it did that. And mind you, this is 10 years ago when we did mourning, and so 11 years ago when we did the video art piece. And when I had come home from Florence, I always wanted to do a collection of pieces where people share their cultural mourning rituals. People who have experienced loss of any kind, whether it's you lose a loved one, or whether you've lost an income, whether you've lost a dream, whatever it is, to give people from around the world the opportunity to do their mourning rituals and cut it together in this one consolidated piece. Did a call out and everything, and then life happened and fizzled out. That was 10 years ago. A couple of months ago, my business partner and best friend, I have many, sister really, if I'm honest, calls me and she's like, dude, I feel like we need to do mourning in solidarity right now for this time during this pandemic, because all of us around the world are experiencing so much loss, not just loss of lives, but also loss of the hope we had for 2020 when 2020 started. If we go back to the 1st of January 2020, we were filled with so much hope. We were entering a new decade and we had all these hopes and dreams, and then Corona happened. And so she's like, we need this outlet or this ritual of actually practicing our mourning rituals for whatever loss we're experiencing. And I'm like, okay, friend, oh, that sounds so deep and so cool. And then I kind of like, I'm like, okay, sharp. I forget about it. Then, literally, as I'm about to brush my teeth, I get this strong impulse to call this dear friend of mine. I haven't spoken to her in literally a year. I literally put down my toothbrush. It had toothpaste on it. I put it down and I call my friend. I'm like, hey girl, I haven't checked on you. And we start talking just about many things. She's a filmmaker as well. And then she starts to tell me about, so I tell her about this experience I had actually on Monday, about the fact that I haven't dealt with or mourned my miscarriage of my twins. I have not mourned them. I haven't touched that subject. And then on Monday, I had a very triggering experience that reminded me that this is something I have to work on. There's a whole video about this. And so she starts talking about the fact that her traditional healer, who is a man, his special gift is that when a client comes in, they can see the spirit of the children that this particular client has lost. So, for example, he'll say, oh, how many children do you have? And my response would be, no, I have one. I only have Malibongo. And he'd be like, no, I see 3 other children here, you know. And so because he was a man, it was received very strangely. And so he taught my friend, who I'm now speaking to, this mourning ritual that couples and women can go through so that they can mourn the loss of their children, or either through miscarriage or abortion. Fine. So that's number 2 now that we're talking about mourning, a ritual about mourning. In the same conversation, we start talking about Black Lives Matter. She's doing a documentary about black hair. She's been working, it's how we met. She's been working on it for, how old is Mali? Because Mali was literally 1 year old. Yeah, she's been working on it for 4 years now. And it has evolved from hair experiences to the urgent need for black people to heal, in particular black Americans. And she says that she was a Bepahla, which is, she was praying to her ancestors, and literally she got this impulse of, so in a lot of African traditions, when we mourn, we fetch the spirits. So we go to where the person died and we fetch that spirit and bring them home. And so she got this impulse of, who has brought the black Americans home? Those spirits that were kidnapped from this continent, who has brought them home? Nobody. And so what else can we experience but Black Lives Matter and Black Lives not mattering and all these things, because those spirits have not come home. They were ripped from their roots and they haven't come home, right? And as she says this, I remember mourning in solidarity. I literally just start to cry, because one of the rituals, the Zulu ritual that I was really, really drawn to was this going to where the person has died and bringing that spirit home so that they can rest in peace. Okay, where are we? We're at number 3 now. Mourning experience. Okay, I get off the phone with her. Oh, same friend that I am talking to about. I tell her about, oh, I'm doing stuff with Gogo Sophia, with conversations with the life activist. She's like, yes, don't you remember you invited me to do a intention setting ritual at your house many years ago with her? And ever since, I've been in contact with her. And she's doing another course now in November, and I've signed up. She doesn't say what the course is about. I'm like, oh, I saw the email, but I haven't read it. So as soon as I get off the call with this beautiful friend of mine, I get on my email. What is this course that's going to be happening in November by Gogo Sophia? It's called Water, Tears, and Praise. How to bring back the sanctity and sacredness of mourning and grief. Because us as a collective, we are going through grief and we're ignoring the fact that we're going through grief. And she has a whole 4-week course about mourning and grief. Where are we? Mourning experience number 4. Then I'm having a conversation with another beautiful soul friend of mine, and she sends me a poster of the course that she is now working on, which says basically it's mourning ashes to how to rebuild your life from the ashes, how to mourn the life that you thought you were going to have and live a life of praise by mourning. Where are we? Number 5, mourning experience. Then I go on Instagram. I'm looking through another beautiful, I have many friends, guys, another beautiful friend of mine's post, and she posted that she is in mourning right now because it's Christmas. The time of Christmas is approaching, and usually this time is filled with so much anticipation for seeing family and friends. And she lives in the UK, and they're going through another lockdown, and this deep sadness of mourning the December she's not gonna have just fell over her. Where are we? We're at number 6, mourning situation. I called my friend. We had a whole conversation about this, and then in the conversation I tell her about mourning and solidarity. And she's a Jewish woman, and she says that in Jewish culture, there's a lot of beautiful mourning rituals, but there's this one called the walk of the living, where Jewish people go to where all these atrocities happened in Poland and in Germany, and they literally walk the steps that their ancestors walked, and in a way say, we see you, we are still here, even though you are not. Very similar to going to go fetch the spirits and bring them home. Anyway, another crying fest about the depth of this. Okay, where are we? Number 7 actually, because of this conversation of the walk of the living that she says she went through, and it was a very healing experience for her. And then my last one. Then I'm like, okay, whatever work I thought I was going to do, but at that time something is happening here, and I don't know what's going on. And then I go on Instagram, and the first post that I see is from my beautiful friend Misty Evans, that I did Mourning in Solidarity with 11 years ago. She has just recently lost her beautiful grandfather, and she's holding up a book called A Witch's Guide to Self-Care. And when I now read the post, it's about grief and mourning, and how she is, for the first time, she actually faced her grief and was in it, and let all the emotions go. So literally this whole day has come full circle, from seeing Mourning in Solidarity, my email reflecting as Mourning in Solidarity, to seeing this 7th post about mourning and grief, written by my friend who I did mourning in solidarity with. Mind you, also, today I was eating my lunch outside in the garden, and I see a butterfly. Now I'm naturally drawn to butterflies. I love butterflies, and I've read up on butterflies in African culture, and they've always been revered as creatures of transformation and of transformation. And so there's this particular butterfly that usually is in my garden. It's got brown wings with like navy blue edges on the wings. So I see this butterfly. I assume it's my friend that always comes to the garden. But firstly, it doesn't go to the usual spot it goes to, and it's just busy. This butterfly is busy, man. Okay, bruh, I'm okay. I put down my phone and I'm now looking at this butterfly because it's up in my grill. And as it flies, I see it pass through. As it flies, its wings glisten or reflect in the sun. I'm like, okay, that's weird. That's not how my friend usually works. And then when I look closer, I see that the top part of the wings are transparent. Now my Pinterest is literally full of butterflies with transparent wings because I just am like, what? But I've never seen one in real life before. And it literally flies around, it's not settling, and eventually it settles. And I get a chance to get close to it, and I took a whole little slow-mo video of the butterfly with its transparent wings. That part I still need to decode. But anyway, friends, I thought let me document on this day that all these strange synchronicities are happening, because how can I have 7 things to do with mourning after the top of this week? I was told that I need to mourn my miscarriage and mourn my abortion and mourn. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what this is about, but I shall keep you posted because God loves me specifically. He provides the answer before I even know I need it. He provided a whole 4-week course where I can mourn in a sacred, beautiful space because he knew that this would happen. And so maybe all of these were to tell me that the course is not optional for me. Maybe it's optional for other people, but for me, as Tula the Love activist, I have to do the Water and Tears and Praise Mourning course by Gogo Sophia. So, woo! I shall keep you posted, friends. This is extraterrestrial stuff that's happening here. Bye. Okay, so I'm in week 2 of doing the tears. So I'm in week 2 of the Water, Tears, and Praise Sacred Mourning course with Gogo Sophia. And it's been intense, friends. Firstly, the first week we learned that when we don't create space for us to mourn, our hearts harden, and that hardening makes us less human. It dehumanizes us when we don't deal with the grief that we have. And another big thing that I learned is that I'm an empath, and so as an empath, you take on not just your own grief, but the ungrieved grief of the collective. And now imagine at this time, there's a lot of ungrieved grief as we go through this mourning experience as a global community, and we're not really engaging with that. And so this week we dealt with creating boundaries and looking at what is your grief and what grief does not belong to you. And we did a meditation with the sea goddess, because water is primordial. It predates humanity. The water that we're drinking now is the water from the very beginning, the first water that ever fell. and as human beings we are 78% water. Our brain is 98% water, and so it's important to understand the sanctity and sacredness of water and use it as part of our cleansing and mourning rituals. That's why water is present in most mourning rituals around the world. And so we do this very deep, intense meditation where we ask the sea goddess we tell her our story, and we let the anger and the frustration and the depression all bubble up, and we hand it over to the ocean. And I didn't realize that I had a lot of ungrieved grief to do with a loss of innocence. As an empath and as a child, I didn't know how to manage my energy, and so a lot of energies had access to me as a child. I remember feeling very overcrowded when my teachers, at school would touch me. For example, if they're just showing me something, I would see, things that I'm not supposed to be, seeing. So I'm very intuitive, and because those energies were very unwelcomed, I then started to block myself from my intuitive gifts. And so a lot of anger of having to protect myself and block myself came up. And today I feel much better. I was feeling, this morning I woke up, if you saw me, my face was so puffy, and it's like I hadn't slept, but I slept a full 8 hours, but it's because of all the processing that's happening. And I did the meditation, and I did my offering to the sea goddess. Let me show you my little offering plates. Okay, my candle has gone out, but that's my offering to the sea goddess. As I go through the sacred process of mourning. I'm also shooting outside because I'm doing some grounding exercises, just to be close to the ground and really let that energy flow into the ground. And I'm feeling like it's night and day, the way I felt when I woke up and the way I feel right now. So guys, it's important to take care of ourselves. It's important to really mourn the 2020 that we ended up with, so that we do not dehumanize ourselves to ourselves. That's why we're seeing all these incredible atrocities all around the world, because of ungrieved grief. And so as a love activist on this path of learning and gaining radical self-love, or let me say relearning self-love, it's important to stop the avoidance game, and that I'm so good at, and really go into those dark, deep places. And I'm feeling really supported. I can feel my guides, I can feel the Holy Spirit, I can feel my ancestors with me in this process. I do not feel alone. I'm surrounded by love. As an aeroplane. Whoa! Wow! Oh my word! Wow! I can't even show you what I'm seeing. Wow! Wow! That's amazing! Wow! Oh my god! Guys, I can't describe what I'm looking at! Oh my god! I'm sitting right above the sun, and there's like a circle of rainbow. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Oh my god! Whoa! Okay, friends, that's me signing out. Wow, have an incredible master manifester abundance-filled week. That for me is a huge signal. I'm gonna try to take a photo of it with my mom's phone. Maybe her phone is better than mine, so that you can see what I'm talking about.
Wow.